Hi there. I'm here in my puppy room, my little area that I come to have some quiet and peace and hopefully better acoustics than the last video. I'm here with Mercy, and unfortunately we have a lot of bird nests that are up in the rafters, or not in the rafters, in the rain gutters. So it could get really loud. I'm going to make this as fast as I can, but communicate the importance of genetic health testing and explain to you how that works. So you find a great company like I was using for the first probably 7 years. I was using Canine Health Check. You can check all kinds of stuff through that, including the health DNA. Currently I use Gensol DX, and I will put the link down below in the show more part. And so I want to explain to you how you'll get the test back, but how do you understand it? And how do you understand if your puppy is clear, or if they're affected, or they're carrier? What exactly does that mean? So I'm going to try to do that with a whiteboard. So right here we have parent number 1, so that's your bitch, and then parent number 2, that's your sire. And of course, we are hoping for completely clear genetics. So when you see the different markers, so for instance, my particular breed has 3 big genetic diseases that we're trying to avoid or weed out. So you want both parents to be clear. That way, their puppies will be clear. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this pen and say that would make your puppies 100% clear, because both parents are clear. So that's understandable. That's what we're aiming for. Clear, 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 clear. Right here we have carrier and carrier. So if you have one genetic marker, say for instance, everyone knows the DM, degenerative myopathy. It affects it's a neurological, but it affects the way the gait and eventually a lot of times the paralysis of the rear legs. In my breed, it doesn't even show up until like around 10 years old. But still, I'm trying to weed that out. So I will not ever breed a carrier to a carrier. This is why. If we did that, we would have half of the puppies in my litter would be clear, but then half of them would also be a carrier. Of course, carriers doesn't mean they always will have that genetic mutation come through and be affected. That's what we like to use, the word affected. So usually not, but I don't think it's worth actually messing around with. So both sides, 50% clear and 50% carriers. That's that carrier mark. So then we have at risk. If you have an at-risk genome, a genotype, then 100% of your puppies that come through this line will be carriers. So that doesn't necessarily mean they're affected, but we don't want to mess with that, right? Can you imagine having these sweet little mamas or daddies that you are caring for, and you produce these beautiful, wonderful puppies, but you know there's something wrong? You're going to take the risk. I'm not going to. I feel like even if it's 10 or 15 years down the road, I am not interested in somebody coming back and saying, what did you do? Did you help test this? I feel like that's the least I can do. How much are these tests? Well, each of my tests are about $40. $40 for each genotype. So I don't want to mess with that. It's worth testing. So I'm just going to lay this out again. It's if you have an at-risk and a carrier, then we have 50% carrier and 50% at risk. I had a breeder, a reputable show breeder who is always in the show rings, who's had her dogs on commercials. You can look her name up on YouTube, and she's got dogs out there. And she sold me a dog that she said was clear. He had clear parents, clear everything. He came here, I tested him, and he was at risk for one of the genotypes. I had to send him back, of course. So I know now that I have to insist on every single dog being tested before they even come to my house. So the unfortunate thing is, if you have an at-risk, affected, and an at-risk, then 100% of your puppies will be at risk. We don't want that. And then if you have a clear to an at-risk, you have 100% carriers. And if you have a carrier to an at-risk, you have 50 and 50. Carrier at risk. Why would somebody not test with those kind of statistics? In the middle box, if we have a little bit of everything, we have a carrier, 50% carrier, 50% carrier. So that means one gene from their parents, one gene from their parents. Well, we have 25% of my litter would be clear. And of course, that's what I'm hoping for always, is a clear. I have puppies being tested all the time, and rarely do they come back 100% clear, so on all the types. So I will not mess with, I will wait for the right dogs. So we will have 25% clear, 50% carrier, and 25% at risk or affected. At risk. When they say at risk, they could be affected, but you may not know it because they're young, or maybe it's just a mild case. Again, I don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to leave you today with these thoughts. Please think about this hard and long, research. And then if you want to go through me, I'm going to try to get a couple of codes that you can use for discounts, and just make sure you hit the see more down below. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and interview someone here, so stay tuned.